You're listening to the Hog Call on 1190 AM, The Fan.
All right, 877-496-1190. That's the number you can call to be part of the Hog Call here Monday through Friday, noon to 2. And we got Kevin McPherson from SportingLifeArkansas.com. You can read his articles there. He's also a contributor to Hogville.net, and you can follow Kevin for all his updates on Twitter at ARHoopScoop. Kevin, how you doing today?
Doing great, Mike. How's it going?
Pretty good, pretty good. Bikes, blues, and barbecue, motorcycles everywhere. And but you know what? I'm excited for some basketball recruiting news. And you got some updates on some of the guys that have been visiting Arkansas here recently.
Right. So Reggie Chaney, he was just on Fayetteville this past weekend on his official visit. He's a 6'8" power forward at Finley Prep by way of Frisco, Texas. He just recently announced his final 8, but Arkansas is really in his top 3, and he's got 4 official visits set. He just finished the one at Arkansas, so he's got 3 more to go. But Arkansas coaches have wasted no time. Associate head coach Melvin Watkins was in Las Vegas yesterday and had a visit in the afternoon with Reggie Chaney. So Arkansas, I got a chance to see him at a Finley Prep combine. Scotty Thurman was out there a weekend before last. So when you start piecing together the last 10 days or so, Arkansas has gotten a front and center on his radar 3 times. The official visit sandwiched in between a couple of trips they've made out to Las Vegas. So obviously Arkansas is really trying to zero in on him as closing out one of their main targets to close out this 2018 class. And so Texas A&M is one of his finalists. A&M was out at Finley Prep on Tuesday to see him. Wichita will be out there today. And then he thinks TCU might come out next week. But I really think this is going to come down to Arkansas and A&M. Maybe Wichita jumps in there. I think they're in that top 3. Maybe they'll jump in that top 2. But I think really those are the 3 teams with Arkansas and A&M at the top. So, one national analyst, he's actually a scout for Nike grassroots basketball, and I've talked to him a couple of times, and he still thinks Arkansas is in the lead. And so, he's made a crystal ball prediction at 247sports.com, basically predicting change to Arkansas, but we'll see what happens there. And then, Jordan Phillips, he's also from the Dallas area, Arlington, Texas. He was on his official visit along with Chaney this past weekend at Arkansas. They're friends. They know each other. They played together at AAU ball a few years ago. Now Chaney's taking off in the morning. He says he leaves in the morning to visit Georgetown, but he reminded me yesterday he still has the Hogs at the top of his list. Arkansas coaches were in home with him last Monday, so he expects maybe he'll see them again next week. But he's a guy that we'll see how persuasive Arkansas is. If there's any chance of him going ahead and committing, I would think it'd be today or tonight, because if not, he's going to go ahead and take that trip out to Georgetown for the weekend. Like I said, that's planned for in the morning. So I don't expect he'll commit, but I'm going to keep my eyes open and be paying attention to that. Everybody check Twitter throughout the night. I know everybody going to hold their breath on that one. But he's 6'7" wing, a guy that's got ball skill, can get to the basket, strong, can finish through contact, nice mid-range shot, has 3-point range, a guy that Arkansas offered back in July. So, Jordan Phillips, another guy to keep an eye on. And then we know Keyshawn Embry, the 6'3" combo guard at IMG Academy by way of Oklahoma City. He committed to Arkansas on Saturday, picked the Hogs over A&M. That was a big deal. I have since visited with his dad. He's reaffirmed to me yesterday, Jermaine Simpson, his dad and AAU coach, that Keyshawn will definitely sign in the early period with Arkansas. They haven't picked a day or time yet, but that period runs from Wednesday, November 8th to the 15th. So we'll get that news out as soon as we can. But he does expect head coach Mike Anderson to go out to IMG Academy sometime next week to watch Keyshawn practice and work out. So we'll get those dates and times also as soon as we get them. One thing to note about Keyshawn, and his dad, and I had a story at SportingLifeArkansas.com talking about how his recruitment and his commitment to Arkansas really came down to relationships. And while that's true, his dad, we talked about his fit in the system and the style of play. He just said yesterday, and I love this quote, I put it on Twitter, he said, we felt like Arkansas was the perfect fit for how he likes to play. And really that's true. I talked about him having that dog in his game, and it's similar to guys like even Barford and Macon who are going to move on after this year. So hopefully, they expect Keyshawn to come in and fill a similar role as those guys are giving Arkansas now. at some point. And then, we've talked about Josh LeBlanc a lot. He's the 6'7" combo forward out of Baton Rouge. He really has narrowed it down to Arkansas, Texas A&M, and LSU. Most people think we've said it a million times, most people think he'll end up at LSU. Now, he takes his official visit there this weekend. I have felt like for a while that it was down to Arkansas and LSU, and then I've shifted in the last week or so after visiting with him a few times that it's probably A&M and LSU. If everything goes well at LSU, you got to think it's going to be hard. If Will Wade and the Tigers won him, that's going to be hard for him to get away. I do still think it comes down to A&M and LSU, but we'll see. There are some scenarios where Arkansas is still in play. I know he likes the Razorbacks, so we'll keep an eye on that as well.
Now, you also mentioned, though, the Hog coaches visiting some of the in-state commits. In this class, you're talking about Ethan Henderson, Isaiah Joe, and Desi Seals.
Right. They really got out and hoofed it. We talked last week. I was out at Southwest Christian Academy, out at North Little Rock, and Melvin Watkins was in town on Tuesday of last week for those two destinations to not only see players that they're interested in, but guys they've got offers out to. And then on Wednesday, he was out at Bryant to see Kalen Robinson. Well, this week, Arkansas coaches did a really good job of visiting with their commits. It started on Tuesday. Mike Anderson and Melvin Watkins started out in Jonesboro to see Desi Seals. Coach Wes Swift at Jonesboro told me Desi had a really good workout and practice in front of them. Told me different areas in his game that he's really working to improve, a lot of ball handling and shooting and spending a lot of time in the weight room. Told me he's actually bench pressing 260 pounds, which in his words, that's insane for a guard. It is. It's pretty impressive. But they worked their way down. They started out at Jonesboro earlier in the afternoon, and then they came down for a practice at Parkview. I happened to be there, and Mike Anderson and Melvin Watkins come walking in, and they're there to check out Ethan Henderson, who I got to interview and watch. He looked really good in practice. That's the starters. Coach Al Flanagan had them going through defensive drills mainly. They didn't get to really play offense, but Ethan Henderson had several blocks and steals and really disruptive out there with deflections and just really, he's gearing up for a big senior season. He played well in front of the head hog, Mike Anderson, and associate head coach Melvin Watkins. So they stopped in there, and then yesterday they stopped over at Fort Smith Northside. Coach Anderson did to check on Isaiah Joe, who also practiced, and he got to take that in. So, they're definitely canvassing the state. As I said, Melvin Watkins was back out at Las Vegas yesterday to see Reggie Chaney. So these guys are definitely not taking a day off. They're really hitting that, getting those frequent flyer miles and putting putting themselves out there to make sure that not only the committed players, but players that are trying to get committed know that they want them.
Now, whether or not in-state guys get offers from Arkansas, now, of course, we all wish them the best in their careers, and another Arkansas native has recently committed to the Memphis Tigers.
Yeah, Connor Vanover, he's an interesting player. 7'3", I call him a stretch 5. You hear that term, stretch 4. It's like a guy that can play that power forward spot but stretch the floor because he can shoot. Well, he's a 7'3". You think of a 7'3" guy as obviously a center, a 5. But he really plays his best basketball away from the basket. He's a very good three-point shooter, more of a face-up guy. He can play in the low block with his back to the basket. He's got a nice array of moves. Once he gets the ball, he's very skilled. So I call him a 7'3" stretch 5. But Arkansas, here's a guy that's his mom, Robin Vanover, is an Arkansas. He would have been an Arkansas legacy. She played for the Lady Razorbacks back in the 80s. But Connor's committed to Memphis. His mom sent me a text last night saying he was committing to Tubby Smith. I got put that news out there and then saw that Connor beat me to it by about a half an hour. He'd already tweeted it. But I got a few quotes from him. He's really excited. He'd been on Memphis's campus 2 or 3 times. It's a good fit for him. Obviously Tubby Smith's a Hall of Fame coach and a guy that will be patient and work with Connor. But, like I said, Connor had just taken a visit again to Memphis this past weekend, so the timing was right for him. He's also at Finley Prep now. He played at Baptist Prep here in Little Rock. He's over there at Finley Prep with Reggie Chaney and T.J. Moss, another name Razorback fans know about out of Memphis. So he's, at that prep school, it'll help him get better as a player this year, learn the things he needs to work on and playing against really good competition all year. And Memphis, they've got a 7'3" stretch 5 now named Connor Vanover from Little Rock, Arkansas.
Well, I think a lot of people, when they see a 7-3 guy in state and they wonder why Arkansas didn't recruit him, but this kind of goes back to that fit issue that you were talking about, correct?
It does. I mean, Connor's a nice player. Here's a guy that's progressed. He's gotten stronger. So he's had skill. Now he's gotten stronger, which allows him to take contact, finish through contact, also take contact and still get rebounds. Guys can have a hard time getting shots off against his reach. The big issue with Connor still is mobility, okay, getting up and down the floor, changing end to end, and that's where Arkansas, the fastest 40, Arkansas's pace and the way they play, and it's also defensively a frenetic style where you've got to be able to cover a lot of territory because you're chasing the ball a lot, trapping, and guys have to be able to get from one spot to another really quickly, and that's not Connor's forte, all right, and so there's different systems and different fits for guys, and he's a guy that I know Arkansas fans have always been intrigued by. A very good basketball player, and I think, he feels good about where he's at, and I think it's the best place for him. And, I tweeted this out last night. Arkansas and Memphis, Tubby Smith and Mike Anderson have both talked about that series being renewed as early as next year, and how intriguing will it be for Connor Vanover to match up with Daniel Gafford. Both of those guys played together in the Arkansas Wings program, the Wings Elite program, for a while. And so won't that be intriguing if those guys get to match up and go head-to-head?
It is. Well, we're about to hit a commercial break. Kevin, thank you as always, and we look forward to talking to you Monday.
Happy birthday to the greatest of all time, Sidney Moncrief, the greatest hog. 60 years old today, my hero.
Happy birthday, Sidney.